Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of the movie Meg 2, The Trench on HBO. And I'm glad I did not go see this in the movie theaters. Now, the first one, I kind of view along the lines of like a so bad it's good kind of film. Like, there's bad aspects that go on, but it doesn't take itself too seriously and kind of understands what it is. However, this one decides to go the sequel route and just throw a lot of shit in here and not really be coherent. If you're doing a monster movie about megalodons, just focus on the megalodons. You know what I mean? Like, keep it simple, understand what you are. The thing is, this is like, it takes itself a little bit too seriously and just throws so much shit into it. It's almost 2 hours, and I fucking was like, this movie's too long. God, it was so stupid and nutty with everything that they were going for. It's like, do you want it to be an action movie with Jason Statham, which I'm fine with. I like Jason Statham action movies when they're good. This just has that in there, and we really don't get the Meg actions until the last part of the movie. I mean, we get certain kind of Meg things going on, but this also runs into a stupid problem of being too dark to see what's going on in the middle portion because they're doing shit in the trench, and it's like, I understand it's dark down there, but like, do a lot of bioluminescence and shit. I mean, come the fuck on. Like, if I can't see what's going on, what's the fucking point? You know what I mean? Like, that's the point of watching a movie, like actually watching the fucking thing, so I can actually see what's kind of going on. And never mind the fact that it like cuts a lot jumpy wise of what's kind of going on. It's not just in action scenes, but in what's kind of going on, especially towards the end where they're juggling so much stupid shit. It's kind of unreal. So, we start off the movie with one of the stupidest things possible, which is just going like 65 million years ago in the Cretaceous period. This kind of becomes a hallmark of this movie of like, this is cool, so we're going to put it in here. I have sometimes... One of my kind of things that I like to say is that the plot demands that certain things kind of happen. However, I don't think there's really a kind of plot directing this kind of thing, and instead it's just, I want all this cool shit to happen, and boom, 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 boom. So, kind of is plot, but it doesn't even really begin to service the narrative. We just see stupid shit going on. We see essentially a chain of life, bug eating bug, lizard eating bug, lizard eating other thing, getting eaten by lizard dog thing, getting eaten by T-Rex, which is then eaten by a megalodon on the beach, which the megalodon would essentially have to beach itself and kill itself to do these things. Never mind the fact that most of this stuff towards the end is in water that would be considered shallow enough for these fuckers to drown. I'm not saying that you have to think of every fucking thing that's going on, but these are giant fucking sharks, and if you're dealing with giant fucking sharks, just put them out in open water. Don't get them into a kind of position where you're like, that thing would really just beach itself. I mean, there is a balance of being like, this is a kind of cool thing, versus, let's keep this as accurate as possible. There is a balance between the two. This film is not concerned with that whatsoever. So, then we get to Jonas essentially being eco-warrior dude. It was very confusing. We see him doing pull-ups and shit, and then he cuts his way out of a shipping container, and we see that this boat is dumping toxic waste into the ocean. And then we see him doing pretty much a fight scene, diving off a place, and then getting rescued by the mech dude who was in the first movie. And then we see that he goes and he has evidently been taking care of Mei Ying, who is the daughter of, let me see here, Su Ying. And that, I don't know if they couldn't get the mother back, but they fucking just like auto-killed her, nuked her, and she's like, she died in like 2021. It's like, they don't even like, it's just memorial kind of shit. It's like, she was an important character in the first one. Like, don't just fucking be like, she died. And then, like, her father died, and then she died, and now we're left with the uncle dude, Juming, for Maying, who's took over the company and is working with this Hillary Driscoll chick to map the trench. It's like, yes, we're doing all this stuff. It's like, yeah, they're just doing it for mining stuff, pretty much, of what they can get. Rare earth metals of the trench. However, that is vastly stupider than it even sounds. We will get to that when we get to it. It needs its own kind of place. So they pretty much use Jonas as he's the one that killed the Meg. Get social media opportunities with him, which was evidently Mei Ying's idea. Which, incidentally enough, Mei Ying has the kind of smartest kind of stuff that she does throughout the film. Jonas is just done as action movie dude and does stupid kind of shit and does the typical action movie one-liners, which I don't hate and have their places in action movie films when they're actively given good enough time to breathe and the film understands what it is. Okay? Where you have a story that is serviceable enough, that is tight enough, and well executed enough that you got those in there and they add and they enhance and they're part of the cogs. This is just too much shit going on, and it's like, alright, fine. So yeah, Mei Ying's the only one that I really kind of liked in this film. Not that Jonas was like an asshole or anything, it's just they don't give Jason Statham enough to work with. He is pretty much put in the adopted kind of father kind of role of looking out for Mei Ying and be like, I don't think you should do this, without having any kind of constructive arguments. It's like, they're giant sea monsters down here, and we would just like to make sure that you're trained more enough to be able to handle this. However, her counterpoints of her pretty much living in Manawan since she was very young should give her pretty much enough kind of experience to kind of handle these kind of situations. Case in point, her stowing away during one of the dives down into exploring the trench, having a suit and adding more oxygen on there after they figured out that they were depleting more oxygen than they should have because there were more bodies in there. That was one of the only kind of smart things that kind of was really going on in this film. It's like, oh, okay, so it kind of makes it a little bit worse, but it's like, look at this giant fucking shark in the shallows. It's like, yeah, it should be fucking dead, but alright. So they're doing their kind of hoopla. We see that Juming is made pretty much exosuits for underwater, for like strength and all that. Let's see. They also evidently out of fucking nowhere have like an 80-foot female Meg called Hai Chi that they've got in captivity. Never mind the fact that it is extremely difficult to have a shark in captivity. These fuckers just like found one as a pup. It's like, how does that fucking occur? Like, the thermocline would keep it down in its realm, which we will get to eventually. But I'm like, and that's a big kind of thing, but the thing is, we just have it like, oh, this is the good Meg, where Juming has like trained her with the clicking kind of stuff, but she's acting kind of funky, and it's like, oh, I guess it's mating season. Spoiler alert, it is mating season, and that's why she's acting funny, and somehow is able to easily escape her enclosure, because the plot demands it. Yeah, it's plot demands going on with, like, the plot demands that we have style over substance. So they go down to Manawan to do that. Hai Chi kind of escapes after they go down there. Mei Ying does her whole kind of spiel. They go down. Jonas is like, oh, we're going to go back up, but like, nah. But the thing is, Hai Chi has popped off. It's like, hey, I'm going to fuck around with you guys because I need to get down in that thermocline and fuck some motherfuckers and make some mega babies. God damn it. So they get through the thermocline because they got to escape that. And they also come upon, hey, look, somebody's doing a mining operation down here. If there was no thermocline and they had built this at the bottom, sure, one thing. But how can Manawan not have recognized that somebody was building shit? Because the thermocline is supposed to be this big kind of barrier. And being, like, getting through it and building shit under it, there's no explanation. It's just because the plot demanded it and they needed the fucking thing down there. And then we see this Montez dude who does the strangest fucking shit. His people are like getting ready to get these earth metals. And he's like, I'm gonna blow this shit up and try and kill these motherfuckers. Sorry. Does it. Asshole mode. Boom. Evidently he's got beef with Jonas because we learned that he had put him in a prison for 2 years in Manila for his eco shit. And he does some stupid shit. His sub survives, even though he's kind of fucked up. He also, at a point, is able to escape on a buoy that he really shouldn't be able to do because evidently they've been using buoys to get up to the surface with the rare metals, which isn't, I wouldn't think would be that possible. But him just riding a buoy up that fast, he would have decompressed and fucking died. Never mind the fact that the thermocline probably would have, like, chilled and toasted his ass. And there's Megs going around. So, the thing is, I'm jumping a little bit of ahead because that's stupid stuff. That's stupid stuff number one with Montez. And then there's another part where he avoids death because the plot demands it. It's like, what the fuck? He should have been dead there. Before we get to his actual death points. So, we see that they get fucked up. They gotta get out of the subs. We see that there's also sabotage on Mono 1. Spoiler alert, it is Jess because she wants fuck tons of money. And she's working with the Hillary chick. And there's like mercenaries popping off because we need mercenary kind of fight scenes. It's almost like they knew that they had Jason Statham as an action dude, and they just throw in random action scenes. It's like, that's not how this works. If you want Jason Statham fighting a shark, let Jason Statham fight a shark. And we're going to get 3 Megs in here. He also fights these weird lizard dog things because evidently they got down in the thermocline as well, and they're just like, ugh. This is the dark part, where they're like walking in the trench to get to the mining base, and we, of course, lose red shirts. We get creatures killing some, Meg eating another, explosive decompression for another, before we're down to Juming, Meiying, Jonas, and Rigas. They look and they find the earth metals worth billions. We see Jess reveal her hand and throwing off the escape pods and then trying to kill them. We see Jonas do this stupid thing where he essentially copies the movie The Abyss and somehow is able to suck in enough water to make sure that he just doesn't get crushed by the pressure of the trench. And I don't know if that's actually possible that way, but he goes and he does it, and this is while everything's going kind of nutty up top. And we get Mac and this DJ dude who has learned skills from the previous movie, how to fight, has a taser, pepper spray, learns how to swim. He actually has some really kind of cool points. He's another character that I'm like, oh, that's cool. He learned this stuff. He's got like survival skills and everything. He's like, I'm going to pepper spray him. You're going to wait a couple minutes. You're going to wait like a minute or so and then go out and tase him. But Mac doesn't and gets blasted by the pepper spray. But they're able to kind of get out, but they get captured again. He's utilizing his gun and everything. But this is when the rest of them are able to get out. They pretty much steal Montez's submarine and escape. Jonas had like a tussle fight with the dude where he's like, I've got my beef with you, fuck boy. And Jonas is like, eat my dick, dude. And is able to utilize his ability to save the rest of his party from drowning. And then you stealing Montez's ship and saying, deuces, bitch. But he's like, fuck you, bitch. And then, like, does something that he should have fucking died for a couple times because the Megs are still out there and all that shit. And they decide to turn on the lights for the station and let the Megs destroy it. Which they essentially decided to go T-Rex mode on these motherfuckers. It's like, lights! Lights attract the Megs. I'm like, are you sure about this? I've never heard that, like, sharks are attracted to light for what they attack. Maybe blood, certain movements, and certain shapes, but I don't think you could take a flashlight and go like, hey, shark motherfucker, look at this shit. Oh my god, I'm like a fucking butterfly moth thingy. Swimmy, swimmy, swimmy. I'm gonna eat that fucking thing. It's like, I don't know. Plot demands that they need to somehow get the sharks away, so they're like, fuck it, light. Now granted, the light bit was also somewhat introduced before, but I'm just like, fuck, do it, whatever. I get back up. We have our Jason Statham kind of action scenes of like trying to take down the guys. They get out. Meg eats some people. We are told that they can't get to the mainland, but evidently they're close enough to get to Fun Island. So they get to Fun Island. We see that the explosion that Montez called had blasted a hole in the thermocline, and that allowed a giant octopus to get out, the fucking lizard dogs, and the rest of the Megs. And Jonas essentially has like explosive shit that they got, and he pretty much makes harpoon fucking things so he can ride around on a jet ski killing the fucking Megs, which is really kind of boring when we get to it. Like, the Meg fights aren't really that interesting to me, which is sad because that's the whole fucking point of the movie. You want to see Jason Statham fight the fucking sharks. He had better fight scenes with the Meg in the first movie. So the thing is, this last bit gets completely nuts. You got the Islander people, where you've got like assholes being assholes, but like trying to figure out how to like deal with all this stuff. The sharks eating people, the lizard dogs eating people, the octopus eating people, the mercenary people trying to get Jonas and his crew, the Hillary Driscoll person essentially being John Hammond, but like more slimy corporate asshole getting taken out, similar to the Dilophosaurus kind of bit from Jurassic Park, which I'm fine with that kind of nod. And then everybody just running around. Ju-Ming and Mac try and pretty much help, but also make a bomb. Jonas is pretty much trying to run around and kill the sharks, but is only able to do like one of them, because we can't kill the Hai-Chi one because that's got to be pregnant and do sequel baiting, and not kill the first giant big beefy scarred fuckboy because we've got to do an awesome kind of blowy uppy scene for that motherfucker. Let's see. No. He doesn't blow up that one. Ju-Ming pretty much blows up the one octopus, but it's pissed off. It's like, I'm gonna eat you! And then Hai-Chi takes that motherfucker out. Interesting, a little bit kind of battle, but it's like, alright, cool, whatever. Mei Ying essentially goes around and tries to help as many people as she can at a certain point, trying to balance what Jonas has pretty much said. And I'm like, a smart teenager, thank God. Like, she is smart. She has learned a lot of stuff from what's kind of going on, and it's cool to see a cool, competent character doing cool, competent things. Her and DJ, definitely. But then we see, like, her uncle, who's supposed to be doing all these kind of things, just doing kind of stupid shit. He does get some kind of kills with the lizard dog, injures the octopus enough for Hai-Chi to kill it. Then we got big fucknit Meg. See, the octopus thing kind of smacked Mac's chopper down, and then Jonas is able to pretty much smack the water to get Big Boy to come at him. He uses a fucking helicopter blade to stab it out. Cool kill of the week for the shark, though. I will say that was pretty cool. Alright. And then they pretty much are swimming in there, and Hai-Chi is like coming at him, but Ju-Ming's able to pretty much get her to go away. And he's like, oh, maybe she's pregnant or what. I was like, alright, whatever. Jonas thinks that it's pretty much the dolphins that drew the megalodon off, but now we got that going on, and everybody's having their fun little time at the end, and then doing the usual kind of canned dialogue that it's like, because Jonas is like, you're grounded forever, and she's like, am I still grounded forever? And they're like, yes. And then they're like, It's like, oh my God. Like, I get it, but it's just the execution. It's like, whatever. It's like the plot demands certain kind of things need to be said, and it's just like, come on, man. There are good ways to do this, and God, this movie was too long with too much fucking shit. The trench bit was boring. All of these things happening at once, let's like, juggling at the end were boring. The beginning, holy fucking shit. I thought this would be a good, so bad it's good kind of movie, or at least an understanding of what it kind of is, similar to Kung Pao Enter the Fist. but it's not. It is the prime example of what shit can happen with a series when it gets to a sequel. It's like more sharks, octopus, lizard dogs, corporate espionage, action scenes, all this fucking shit for $4.99.99, bitch. And I'm like, I'm glad I didn't see this in the movie theaters. I'm like, I'll wait and I'll see. And it's like, holy shit, 2 hours. And that's the thing. I like monster movies. I like action movies. I like Jason Statham. And this was just not well done and not well executed to me. I was bored. I was like, what the fuck's going on here? Now, if you like this movie, that's cool. I mean, there's certain kind of cool bits that you can get from it. At least when you're able to see the CGI, the explosion with the with the harpoon, the impaling with the helicopter blade. Cool. Mei Ying's character, DJ's character, really kind of interesting stuff. It's just everything else is just kind of out there, spread out, and they're like, yes, it's easy to be like, yes, we're gonna make billions and take everything from the earth. It's like, yes, and like that's the basic kind of building block. Show me what you're trying to execute on and your particular flavor on here. I didn't get that with Hillary Driscoll and her group. They were just typical, stereotypical villains with just the basic kind of bones of their motivations. It's, you want to kind of feel something for them. And what I mean by that is get more of a kind of feel of who they are, because they're just the typical kind of, like, your basic kind of villain. It's not like badly done, but it's like, that's the basic that a story needs. And like Loki in the MCU, he wanted the throne of Asgard. See what he that's the basic kind of motivation. We see him doing these things, making these moves, how he's trying to undermine his brother Thor, ingratiate himself, and take out the Jotuns, that kind of bit. Sorry, Loki just ended, and Loki's on the brain. But as an example, as a villain, Thanos wants to wipe out all life. Well, half of all life in the universe, because he fears the unchecked proliferation of life and what has happened with his own planet. Escalations, you get that kind of sense for it. John Wick. A spoiled kid wanted his car and decided to get into his house, kill his dog, and then steal his car. Because he is a spoiled little bastard. And even though that's kind of basic, you see more of the flavor. He's arrogance and everything like that. And then John Wick going through and just cracking wholesale ass. It's an effective villain, and you get that kind of connection. He wanted that car, and he was denied, and he decided to go in and do this shit. And you're like, fuck, man. Other ones. There's so many kind of other ones. Like, shit, Violent Night. It's one dude going after money. He planned everything out. He wanted pretty much to... He saw a rich target, he went for it, and seeing how he executes it. And has his kind of beef with Christmas. I watched that again recently. Decent enough action Christmas movie there. But yeah, here they're just basic kind of boilerplate villains. They want resources or they want money, like Hillary and Jess. Oh, Montez. He got Jonas pretty much just kicked him into a Meg's mouth. It's like, oh, okay. And the thing is, Jess got pretty much eaten by a Meg. He's like, oh, this thing's Meg-proof. And I was like, yeah, she's gonna die, isn't she? And then she does. And the thing is, Montez shouldn't have been able to get out of that room because the shark pretty much took out a complete pane of glass, and it should have just taken him out. It's like, whatever. So, I wouldn't recommend this as a good monster movie or action movie. If you're into it for characters or plot, I wouldn't recommend it. That's why I got the jacket and everything. It's just... It could have been a good bad movie. Because there is room for good bad movies. And even good parody movies, which is like Kung Kung Pao Under the Fist is a good bad movie because it's parodying it and understands it. And sometimes you can get movies that do those things so fucking well. This one didn't do it, in my opinion. And if you disagree, that's quite alright. Enjoy this movie and have fun with it. So, those are my opinions on the movie. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.